He was too small for his own football team. A coach once looked at him and said, "No, not yet, maybe never." Today his name is spoken in the same breath as the greatest to ever play the game. But before the trophies, before the records, before the world knew the name Lionel Messi, there was just a boy in Rosario, Argentina, who might not have grown past 5 feet tall, and almost never got the chance to find out what he could become. This is the story most highlight reels skip. This is part 1.
Lionel Andreas Messi was born on June 24, 1987, in Rosario, a working-class city a few hundred kilometers from Buenos Aires. His father worked in a steel factory. His mother cleaned houses. Nothing about his beginning suggested the world was about to change. What Rosario did have was football, everywhere, in the streets, in backyards, in every spare hour of every kid's day. And from almost the moment he could walk, Leo had a ball at his feet. At 5 years old, his family tried to enroll him at a local club called Grandoli. The coach took one look at him and said he was too young, too small. It was Messi's grandmother, Celia, who pushed back. She convinced the coach to let him play anyway. That one conversation is the reason Messi's career exists at all. Every time you've seen Messi point to the sky after scoring, that's who he's pointing to. She passed away when he was 10. By 7, he'd moved to Newell's Old Boys, Rosario's biggest club, the team he'd support for the rest of his life. And that's where things got strange, in the best way. At Newell's, Messi became part of a legendary youth side nicknamed the Machine of '87, a group of kids born that same year who barely lost a match. Messi alone scored close to 500 goals across his 6 years there. Opposition coaches would sometimes accuse the club of fielding an older kid under a fake birth certificate because no one that small was supposed to be that good. By age 8, his own coaches trusted him to take the team's penalties. He'd do ball tricks at halftime while the first team's crowd watched. He wasn't just good for his age, he was operating on a different level entirely. But there was a problem, a serious one, and it had nothing to do with his talent. Around age 10, Messi's parents noticed he'd stopped growing. Doctors ran tests for over a year before delivering the diagnosis, a growth hormone deficiency. Without treatment, doctors estimated he might not grow past 4'7". The treatment existed, it just wasn't cheap. Somewhere around $1,000 a month for years. For a family living off a steel worker's wage, that number might as well have been $1 million. Newell's helped cover some of the cost for a while, but even a club that believed in him couldn't sustain it long term. Other clubs admired his talent but wouldn't commit to funding his treatment either. Here's the part that's easy to miss. This wasn't a story about talent being enough. Talent got him noticed. It was never going to be enough to get him treated. For a while, it looked like Lionel Messi's football career and maybe his health was going to be decided by a number on a medical bill, not by anything he did on a pitch. Then, on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean, in Barcelona, someone heard about a kid in Argentina who couldn't grow. In September 2000, thanks to a chain of contacts stretching from Rosario to Buenos Aires to Barcelona, a 13-year-old Messi flew to Spain for a trial with FC Barcelona's academy, La Masia, one of the most respected youth systems in world football. He didn't disappoint. In that trial, he reportedly scored 5 goals, and the coaches watching knew almost immediately this kid was special. But Barcelona's board hesitated. Signing a foreign 13-year-old with an expensive medical condition wasn't a simple decision, even for a club that sized. One man wasn't willing to let him slip away: Carles Rexach, Barcelona's technical secretary. Weeks passed with no contract, no commitment, while Argentina's biggest rivals started circling. So on December 14, 2000, in a restaurant with no paperwork on hand, Rexach did something that's now football folklore. He grabbed a paper napkin and wrote the terms of the deal right there at the table. That napkin promised two things: a future at Barcelona, and crucially, that the club would pay for his growth hormone treatment. In 2024, that same napkin sold at auction for over $950,000. A signed napkin didn't make the transition easy. In February 2001, Messi's family relocated to Barcelona. He moved into the academy dormitories at La Masia, thousands of miles from Rosario, from Newell's, from everything familiar. He barely spoke Catalan. He was naturally quiet to begin with, and in a new country, surrounded by new teammates, that quietness turned into near silence. Some of his own teammates genuinely believed he didn't talk at all. Homesickness hit hard, especially after his mother and siblings moved back to Argentina, leaving him in Barcelona with just his father. Because of a transfer dispute with Newell's, he wasn't even eligible to play many official youth matches that first year. So, on top of everything else, football, the one thing that had always been his escape, was mostly taken away too. This is the part of the story that gets skipped the most. Before he was breaking records, Messi was a homesick kid, alone in a new country, not even allowed to play the game he'd crossed an ocean for. He stayed, he adapted, and slowly the quiet kid in the corner of the dressing room started doing on Barcelona's youth pitches what he'd always done back in Rosario, making it look like everyone else was playing a different sport. By 2003, people inside the club were already whispering that they had something special on their hands. And on October 16, 2004, at just 17 years old, that quiet boy from Rosario would walk out for his first team debut in a Barcelona shirt. How a homesick, silent teenager became the player who'd make that debut, and everything that exploded after it, that's part 2. If you want to see how the boy who wouldn't grow became the man who couldn't be stopped, subscribe. Part 2 is coming next.